Yo, yo, welcome to my block. My name is Andre Webley. This podcast is a documentation about my life, business, and fitness, as well as giving you all some healthy tips and tricks to help benefit you starting with your body and mind. Are you ready? Let's get into it. Like I said, the winter was my best season, and I spent 2 years going through all the bullshit, like minimizing all my costs and giving up everything I had to give up, and taking the bus downtown or walking. And my clients had cars. I never asked them for a ride, um, and at the time, I never asked them for a ride, and I was just hustling and bustling through winter, and it was. Somebody had to offer me a ride in order for me to take it. I would just never be like, yo, can you. But the way I did the math is like, if this goes on the way it does for the next 4 years, I would have lost a total of a year just through the winter because of situations that I'm, one, myself are in, and then two, what my clients are going through, because they live in the same climate. It's not like it's changed. It's not like I was doing online training at the time. It's really what my main idea was, but I just couldn't do that at the time. Now I was thankful for everything that's happened, but I'll get into that. So year three starts, and or I should say earlier this year comes along. And after the downward spiral for like 4 months, it's like February. I had got a job. Those who follow me on Instagram know that I worked at Planet Fitness, and it was like I had to humble myself for a little bit, because I didn't move down here for no reason. I moved down here to do the same things that I was doing up north, but now I had to start over. Before I don't know how I was doing it. I got to the gym. I don't know how I was paying my gym membership. Excuse me, but I was. I got to the gym every day, and I just worked out with somebody and trained somebody. But when I got here, it was just like, okay, you need to make some money because you already have a business established. It's not like you're not paying taxes. It's not like you don't have anything to do. Like, you have a business. You need to run it, or else you don't fucking eat. So I manned up. I owned it up to what I needed to do. Got a job at Planet Fitness. The staff was awesome. You guys are just amazing, and it made my life so much easier. I lived like a mile away from Planet Fitness, but it definitely helped grow and sharpen my people skills. It helped grow and just my confidence level and giving people a tour about something that I knew nothing about. And it took me a while to get used to it. It took me a while to get comfortable. And mind you, like, I've already been on camera before at this point. I've already made podcasts already at this point. I've already made, you know, progress in what I was doing in terms of, I just got certified, recertified again. I just got my senior fitness health certification. It's just like, dude, I'm doing all the right things that I need to be doing, but now I need to actually put it into play. So getting in front of those people that I don't know, and there's new people every day, and then having figured out the process about signing people up, how to talk to people, how to give them a tour around the building within like a short period of time to make sure they gotten everything. And learning how to do that was a learning curve that after I manned up and after I owned up to just being like, okay, what is your actual goal for being here? And me understanding that me being here was, I don't want to call it a stepping stool or but it was. I did it so I could get my business back up and running, so I could have money in my pocket, so be able to pay for all my bills. My biggest thing was if I could keep my business up and running and everything up and running, all my bills paid for an entire year, there's no way in hell that I cannot make this. I don't want to ask people to pay my bills. You know what I mean? I didn't want to ask my mom for money. I didn't want to ask my dad for money. I didn't want to do any of that anymore. At the time, I'm 27, going on 28. I'm just like, I don't need any extra shit in my life. Like I need to be able to focus on me. If I want this bad enough, like I think I do, then I'm going to be able to get there. It's the driving force that gets me up every day to make sure that I'm doing the things that I'm doing. It may take me a little bit longer to get there, but I'm totally fine with that. I'm totally fine moving that 1% a day. I'm totally fine building that 1% a day. But as long as I'm doing something and I'm moving forward, I know for a fact I'm going to get there. God will not lead me down the wrong road if this was, if I wasn't meant to do this. And I've always felt like my path was going to change sooner or later, but it's not in the only way it's going to change is if I get through and when I get through this patch that I'm in. When I make that breakthrough, because day in and day out, I always feel like tomorrow is my day. I always feel like today is my day. There's never a day where I'm just like, man, like I'm not gonna make it. When I put out something, I'm just like, this is it. And when it doesn't hit, I'm just like, all right, great. The next thing is it. The next thing, the next thing. And my biggest lesson from last year, or I would say my biggest lesson over the last 3 years was just take those L's or take those lessons and learn from them. You know, learn from them. My biggest thing is just when I don't know anything, I make as many mistakes as I want to as fast as I can. As fast as I can. I did the same thing at Planet Fitness. When I didn't know something and I made a mistake, I went to my boss or I went to my assistant manager. I was like, okay, so I'd ask him a question in a certain way. Like maybe I messed up on something before billing, but I would ask them something about billing that they have to go through that certain thing in order to get to billing to show me what I need to do in billing. Even though I knew the answer for billing, but maybe the waivers before that I didn't know anything about. You know what I mean? So it was just like learning how to talk to people and learning how to control the conversation was becoming easier to do over time. And after I started to get confident in what I was doing, I started showing people this is how you ask a question. You don't ask a direct question to something that somebody's shown you 30 times. If I showed you this 30 times, I have no problem showing you 31 times, but my boss might have a problem showing you 31 times. You know what I mean? So the ways you ask somebody something is that you need to be able to lead them to the next thing. So if I do have a question about billing, or if I do have a question about these waivers, let me ask about billing, the next thing that's on that list, because I know I got to cover something in billing. And then let me ask about, what if somebody wanted to change their billing information? Let me ask about that. Because I know that they could change their cards on file, and I ran through that earlier today. I left a note for you all to see, and you came in before I left, so I just wanted to address that. You know what I mean? It's just like, just show me what to do so I just know what to do next time. And just learning how to talk to people, learning how to be in an environment where people want to move forward. Because people just don't come to the gym for no reason. You know what I mean? They always have a reason. Either they want to look good, they want to they want to tone. Tone is not a real word. You never go to the supermarket and see a toned piece of meat. So please stop saying that. And so it was just like learning how to communicate with people, learning how to be, I guess you could call it passive aggressive, because there's a lot of things that I had to do that I didn't want to do, but people were just making my life a little bit harder than what it should be. So I had to be like, okay, dude, like either you listen to me and you get by, whatever the case may be, or my boss is gonna walk around in a couple of hours and you're gonna see the same shit that you're doing, and either you could deal with him about doing it, but I'm gonna let him know that I've already talked to you about this several times, and you can continue to do whatever you want to do. That's on you. I don't really care. But it's just like I've had to deal with people who were bigger than me, were potentially stronger than me, potentially. And and I don't take no shit from nobody. You know what I mean? Don't take shit from nobody, bro. That's just the way I am. It's just I had to learn how to move forward. I had to learn how to be comfortable in environments. I had to learn how to run the floor. I had to learn how to, read the room. And I felt all this stuff was all practice for what I have in store. I've always wanted to run an event. I've always wanted to run an event. where all my clients come together and they're able to share their stories to people who want to join my program, to people who hasn't had the chance to, exercise, but they want to, but they don't know how to. Like, I want to bring people from all walks of life together so they could bond, so they could have something like a community to go to. So it's like, say if you need an electrician, say if you came to the conference last year and you met an electrician, or one of my past clients were electricians. They get on stage and they started talking about their journey through being an apprentice, and then learning how to be a foreman and this, that, and the other. But all this time that they were doing it, the fitness was helping them, and they start to make this bond with somebody who was a plumber, and then they start to trade services for work or whatever the case may be. That's my goal, to be able to help people without having them to need me. This year, like I said, it's been a task in itself. I had to deal with a lot of home elements that I didn't have to deal with back at home. So I was dealing with a lot of stuff in Florida that in Massachusetts I didn't have to deal with, and then I was dealing with a lot of stuff in Massachusetts where in Florida I didn't have to deal with, and it was. The difference was how many people was around me at a time. My dad's house, I was able to get work done, but the work was inconsistent because people would just show up, and then I had to go into my room so I could do work instead of being at the table and doing work. Or I'll be in the middle of something, or I'll be in the middle of a podcast, and somebody will stop by and they would be making hella noise. So you'd be able to hear, in some of my old episodes, you'd be able to hear people playing dominoes and shit in my podcast. And it's just like there was a lot of things that I couldn't block out. There's a lot of outside forces that was kind of messing up with what I wanted to do, but I just had to push through anyways. Coming down here was a bit shocking for me because it was like the weather was always nice. I was like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. I see why people move to Florida. And having to deal with the outside forces of how many people were actually in the house was the biggest thing. Like, I had a room, but it was a shared room, and the room that I slept in, the person I slept in the same room snored like a fucking horse. So it was like when it was time for me to do work, or when it's time for me to go to sleep, I will only be able to go to sleep for like 2 hours at a time because this person would snore so fucking loud, and that shit would drive me nuts, and I couldn't sleep throughout that. Like, I'm a very light sleeper, and any kind of noise that I'm unprepared for will wake me up. Like, if a door opens and I know that somebody's coming inside, I'm gonna be fine. You know what I mean? But if a door opens and I don't know somebody's coming, then I'm waking up immediately, and I'm in like fight or flight. I'm in a fight mode. I'm not flight mode. I'm fighting. Like, this is fight. Welcome to Fight Club. Wrong house. So what I did is that I started sleeping in a bed for 9 months. I took my ass down to the couch, and I slept in the couch for 9 months. Can I tell you how bad the sleep was? It actually wasn't that bad. I only sleep for about like 5 hours anyways, so 5 to 6 hours, and that's totally fine for me. Like, so it was like basically taking a power nap. I go to bed like at 2 o'clock, get up at 7, 8 o'clock, and get right back at it, and whether that was going to work at Planet Fitness for a couple of months, or was it like, getting up to work to actually do my job, to actually move forward in business, and I had more space here with more people, but sharing this space was the biggest thing, and having to work around everybody else's schedule was the biggest thing. So what I did, was pretty cool. I took a DNA fit test. It was something I was supposed to talk about for a podcast a while back. Basically, it's a genome test telling you your predispositions on your sleep, your stress levels, your fitness level, your nutrition, and there's like one more thing. Maybe one more thing. Deficiencies, any kind of deficiencies that you had in your nutrients. So I took one of those tests, and one of the beautiful things that it showed me, it gave me my circadian time. So basically, your internal clock. Everybody has an internal clock that runs on 24 hours, whatever. And I found out that my circadian clock operates best, or I operate best towards the nighttime. Like my juices are flowing, um, like in between. They have like five different categories. That I would just say, one is the earliest in the day. Two is, let's say, like afternoon. Three is like in between afternoon and evening. Four is like evening to like to about like 12, 2 o'clock, and then the night owl is definitely from like 5 o'clock or 5 o'clock. It's in between the two. In between the times of like 2 o'clock and like 7 o'clock in the morning. Those are like the five different kind of circadian time rhythms that they have. And I landed in spot number four. So I changed over my times from working throughout the entire day, from just working to working from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. And that's definitely helped. But I can tell you this, it was the most difficult thing making that transition from last year to this year. Because last year I was working my ass off. You know, I've actually been here for an entire year. Um, but when I was in Massachusetts, let's say that, for that year I was in Massachusetts, or 2 years I was in Massachusetts. I'm from Massachusetts, all right? I'm just trying to break this up for y'all. But the years I was in Massachusetts dealing with business, I just work all day. Like I said, I was just dealing with shit, physically, not physically. I would say like emotionally, and just, you know, whatever. But I was dealing with that and not having not having the right mindset. But I just wanted to just move through things, and let's say I was just working until I couldn't work no more. If I was up, I was working. So in terms of like this year, what I've done different, or this is actually over the last 6 months that I took in this test, that I literally stopped working in the morning. I do my best not to do shit in the morning, and I focus all my energy on the time period in between 7 and 2 o'clock. I'm always up anyways. Like I've noticed I've just always been up around that time, that I'm like restless around that time. Maybe it could be the coffee, and maybe it could not. But also it's like these are the times where my thoughts are running wild, where it's just like I had so many thoughts at nighttime. It was just like I wake up or my eyes like shoot wide open, and I'm just like, I gotta write this down. Well, this is also I need to remember. And there's been plenty of times where I'm just like, I remember that. That was super important. That was a good one. And I go right back to sleep, and then in the morning I wake up and I don't remember shit about it. So I've also had that kind of experience. The difference between this year and last year, the consistency. Um, let's say I want to be more consistent. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't as consistent as I was when I was in Massachusetts. My consistency has went down, but in other aspects of my life, everything has kind of risen. From my work ethic to just even polishing my skills with talking with people, with cooking, with figuring out how to make these things a little bit easier, how to move around people, how to control the room, how to talk with people who are in different walks through their life. Because working at Planet Fitness, I ran into people who were unhealthy. I ran into people who were healthy as hell. I ran into people who were what's it called? That had like heart attacks, that had pulmonary cancer, that's had all these kind of things, and I've learned, I've learned a lot about them. I've learned how to help them, and it made me feel good. It made me feel better about myself, because I definitely took a lot of time off from, doing a podcast, and I felt like that's a big part of me. I feel like it's a big part of me, and being able to give to you all is very important. So I just wanted to give you all a couple of changes that's actually happened in my life within the last couple of years, within being in Massachusetts and then being in Florida. That's the end of the podcast. Thank you all for stopping by and listening. Please leave me a like or a dislike. And if you do like the content that I'm actually putting out, please hit the subscribe button. And make sure you turn on the notification bell so you can stay up to date with the latest content that I'm bringing to you all. If nobody's told you this within the last week, 48 hours, or day. I'm gonna let you know right now. I love you. Be safe, great, and amazing. I'll catch you all later. Peace.